Hey Morgan, I just thought it would be easier for me to send you a video of what I would maybe do, and so I thought in terms of NBT6, I looked first at the unpacking document and looked at what that showed for what strategies they would use and what really the intended outcome was. I think it's better to probably just teach the unpacking for this group and see how it goes, and so I can share that with you, or you can access it through the Teacher Resource Canvas page. But the strategy that I thought you might want to start with this group if they're struggling is included in there. And so I was just going to show you it first, and then you can take a look at the unpacking and see if you have questions or if whatever is in there works out a little bit better for understanding. But they use the example 745 divided by 3. And so if I were you, I would get out actual base 10 blocks. I am not, I do not know where this particular teacher keeps her, so I'm going to draw mine. But I would actually have them get them out and manipulate them, or have you get at least the set out and show them, so that way maybe not everybody at the table has it, but you have one concrete set to show them, and they could draw based on your concrete set. If you wanted them to, you could think about how that might look. But the strategy they talk about in the unpacking is saying, okay, well, if I have 745, I'm first going to create that with my base 10 blocks. So I would get them out if I were you. $745. And then what they do is they go and they separate it hundreds first. So they say, okay, well, I want 3 groups, so I'm going to make my 3 groups. And then I'm going to divide my 700s into 3 groups and see what I can do. And so I would take mine that I could actually move, and I would move it and put one here, and then move it, and move this one. And that's why you kind of want to have the actual manipulative, so that they're not erasing and forgetting to erase and all of those things, and they're actually physically moving them. And so I would have a discussion with the students. Okay, well, I was able to give each of the groups 2 of those hundreds, but I could not give this one out because then that would not be even. So all the hundreds I can do, it would be 2. Each group would get 2. And then we would talk about, okay, well, what do I do with this one? Because now I'm going to be working with my 10s, and hopefully the students would tell us, well, we can break this apart. And so I would trade this in, and I would put it away, and I would get out 10 rods. And I would do the same thing with the 10 rods. So now I'm going to take them, do one for you, one for you, one for you as you go through. I'm going to move faster because you and I both know that we can move faster. I would really have them slide them one at a time. But for our purposes, we can kind of do more than one at a time. So I can do 3, 3, 3. And then I end up left with 2 more 10s that can't go in it. So each group was able to receive 4 10 rods. And then I'm going to break these 2 into units. And I'm going to do the same thing and divvy them out. So now I'm going to say, okay, well, I can put 5, 5, 5, do 2 more, 2 more, 2 more, and then 1 more. Okay, so after I divvy those out, I find out that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then I'm going to have a remainder of 1, because this 1 is left all by itself. It can't go anywhere, and it can't go any group. So I would work through maybe that. You could even create an anchor chart like we talked about before with step 1. You know, divide the hundreds out and give everyone as many hundreds as you can. Change the hundreds left into 10s, divide the 10s out, change the 10s into 1s, divide the 1s out, find your remainder. Something like that. But I would start with something like this. That is a strategy that they can concretely move the manipulatives. They can place them in those charts, and eventually you will get them to the point where I can now add, I would not do this now, but eventually you could get it to the point where you're saying 745 divided by 3 and moving those, the students would understand what was happening, right? The 200. I would not do this yet though, but just in thinking about that will probably be coming next or soon. So hopefully that one made sense. It is in the unpacking document. This exact example is in there also, and I would just run through that with them multiple times. Get them moving the manipulatives, get them understanding. Okay, I'm dividing it by this. What is really happening? And then you and I can talk about, okay, now how do we make the connection to something that is a little bit more abstract? But for now, I would say let them live in the concrete stage and do it this way. Hopefully that helped.